It's starting. Okay, so we're in the countdown screen. We have 7 minutes. And we're just, it's so exciting. Things are happening. I don't know what else to say. I'm freaking out. So, we're watching a video. I don't know what's happening. I'm scared and excited. What's a word for both scared and excited? Whatever that word is, that's me right now. I'm trying to watch this video and see what it's about. I kind of missed the beginning. It's probably on a loop. It'll probably play again, right? Baltan! It's so close. It's so close. It's happening. You're late, young man. You missed our D&D one shot. I play as a tiefling. What? These folks play D&D? This seems pretty old. Was D&D a thing? Back when... Oh, no! Oh, he cut his finger. Are you bleeding? Wonderful. Three of the following are present-day Innistrad vampire bloodlines. Which one is not? Ooh, I don't know. Which one is not? The Falcon Stencias. Nope, the Marers. The Marers is my answer. Dang it, it's Stencia. It's Stencia. Okay. Apparently the Stencia line has been completely just finished. Hi, the Dark Ritualist. Stencia isn't a bloodline, it's a location. Didn't you know that? No, I didn't know that. I know now. What's happening? Oh, would you like to see the rest of my house? This manor is one of only a few still standing. Speaking of which, who was responsible for the wrecking of Markov Manor? I know, it was definitely Nahiri. 100%. This answer is Nahiri. I'm 99%. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's Nahiri. Tovalar. Oh, did a werewolf come in here and wreck Markov Manor? Yes! Yes! Nahiri, we were right. We got it. Lev knows. Late at night. Hi. I'm so excited. I'm just like so pumped. What's happening? Is this the original Dracula? Is that what we're actually watching? I think it is. This is creepy. I would be totally freaked out if I was in this house. That would be me. Typical Nahiri. I know, right? Like, guy? You're looking creepy. This is me, hiding under the covers. You're totally visible. Hey, Data Storm. What's up? Hey, Bobby Christine, welcome. Young man, do you know what keeps me... What? Oh, I missed it. I mean, besides my thirst for blood. Yeah, he totally can't see you there, bud. You're good. The fact that Soren has appeared on so many cards. What's wrong with Soren? I'm sorry, what's wrong with Soren? How many mechanically unique Planeswalker cards has Soren appeared on thus far? Oh my gosh, we just looked at this. 7? 9 feel... Wait a second. Like a card that is Soren? It's... Okay, 7. 7? I said 7. Oh my gosh, I'm right! I know everything about Soren. I know everything about Soren. Oh my gosh. Damn, that's a lot of cards. Wow. It's a good thing this game's rated 13 plus language. I only have 5 Soren cards. I must have them all. Me too. I wonder if the game store is open at midnight. Well, maybe if it's like a Friday night and they're doing a tournament, it could be open that late if it's just... Guy? Are you looking at your neck? Is Kitten. What are you doing? Dear Nina, I miss playing MTG with you. Too bad Arena hasn't been invented yet. Also mobile phones, you know what I'm saying. Seriously. Nina! Oh, Nina! This is definitely OG Dracula. Only a woman can break his frightful spell, a woman pure in heart who will offer her blood freely and will keep the vampire by her side until after the morning. Ugh. Oh my gosh, look at her face. Oh, dang. Yeah, my response too. You know what you have to do, Nina. And all of that brings us to today. At the end of the Midnight Hunt storyline, someone sent out wedding invitations. Who is the bride of the wedding? Well, we know who it is. It's Olivia. This one's so obvious. Emrakul. What if this was Emrakul's wedding? Would that be hilarious? We all know it's Olivia's wedding. They're just giving us this one for free. What's happening? Okay, that, I was like, what is that? It's a candle. Please join us for the wedding of Olivia Valderin. You did not give us enough time to read that. Sometime before dawn. Oh, the sun coming up. Is it time for the show to commence? Get away from the window. Oh no, my mortal foe. Open curtains. Did he just die? And now our feature presentation.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first look at Crimson Vow, the new set from Magic the Gathering. Now, I'm a little new to Magic, but this is definitely the set that I'm the most excited about.
Same.
So I got this save the date from Olivia, which suggests to me that there is a wedding in the near future.
Did someone say wedding?
Oh my goodness, look who it is!
Becca!
Scott. So yes, the centerpiece of Crimson Vow is this huge, extravagant vampire wedding.
And of course you got invited because you're one of my all-time favorite vampires.
Oh, thank you so much. That's so funny.
Yeah, well, do you think that maybe you could bring me, like, as your +1?
Oh.
I mean, unless it's kind of a drag to have a human as your wing woman.
No, well, that didn't matter because it was just a role that I played. I'm not really a vampire.
Right?
Oh, say no more. I get it. You can't say while they're watching. Your secret's safe with me. Just...
How did you swallow it after you... You know what? Doesn't matter. We're getting way off track here. So as I was saying, we are going to learn all about the vampire wedding of the century from all of the creators at Wizards of the Coast who helped make the big day possible. So join us. You ready, co-host?
Yeah, a human co-host. Oh, sorry. Is that weird? I'm ready.
Okay, let's go.
Wait, have you heard from Jimmy? I haven't heard from him in a while.
Oh, you know, I heard he got eaten by a werewolf.
Oh. Jimmy! Poor Jimmy! Look at the snow.
So, as I was saying, we have some special guests with us to help us prepare for the big day. Just like Taylor Ingverson, Senior Art Director.
Thanks so much for joining us here. So
Show us the cards,
Thanks so much
please.
for inviting us in, because some of us might not have been able to get through the door without that.
I think what Becca is trying to say is that we're so excited to be here as well. Now, Taylor, you led the art direction on the last set, Midnight Hunt. So get us caught up. Where did we leave things in Innistrad at the end of Midnight Hunt, and how does that bring us into Crimson Vow?
For the background of what's going on, a lot. So at the end of Midnight Hunt, there was a disaster at the Harvesttide Festival. So it was set up to do this ultimate ritual to fix the day-night cycle put on by Catilda and her coven of Downheart witches. But it was foiled by a vicious pack of werewolves led by Tovalar. But it's okay, it's okay.
friggin'
He got taken care of,
Tovalar.
which is sweet. But if that wasn't enough, Olivia swooped in at the very end, pushed Catilda aside, and stole the Moon Silver Key, which was a vital part of the ritual to fix the day-night cycle.
Olivia was not about to have her way.
I know. How do you manage that? Very true. Well, so then with the ritual unfinished, what does that mean for Innistrad?
Right, so that just means that the entire was set into a realm of perpetual darkness, which is extra bad if you're a human, but kind of fun if you're a monster, because now it's party time.
Right.
So, but just because it's super dark doesn't mean that it can't look pretty, just like these new dual bands.
Ooh, oh, yes. Okay, so we're rounding up the cycle we started back in Midnight Hunt.
Right? Ooh, I want to see the art.
And just like those lands from Midnight Hunt, these will also be getting the borderless treatment.
Oh my gosh, look at that.
I wouldn't mind attending a Deathcap Glade. It sounds unpleasant,
Oh
but
my
it
gosh,
looks
that
lovely.
coast.
It's so beautiful and atmospheric. So then with the werewolves scattered around and the humans struggling, it sounds like the perfect opportunity, as you said, for vampires to just swoop in and take over.
So it's actually funny that you bring that up because that's exactly what's going on.
Swoop
Olivia's
in,
taking
get
full
it,
advantage of this
bats.
situation, and throughout Crimson Vow, the story actually opens up with bats fluttering all over the plain, delivering awesome-looking invitations to the event of the age, Olivia Valderen's wedding.
Oh, it's so pretty.
Yes, I mean, it is a special occasion when you're immortal.
Look how happy they are.
So there will be vampires traveling from all across the plane to attend this event. The Valderens, the Markovs, the Falconraths, and the Stromkirks showing up for this.
Well, now, you said that it's Olivia's wedding, but I don't think you actually mentioned who she is that she's marrying.
Oh yeah, so the lucky guy is none other than Edgar Markov himself. So it's really exciting. He's the progenitor of all vampires on Innistrad, and he's also the grandfather of Soren Markov, our planeswalker vampire.
Goodness, what a catch.
Interesting, yeah. So, I mean, I don't know if I would have agreed with Olivia's choice. I'd maybe go for Soren, but if she's into granddads,
Becca knows what's
that's
up.
her choice, yeah. Tell us more about Edgar.
So Edgar Markov is the progenitor of all vampires, like I mentioned before, and way long ago, he was trying to get rid of this famine that was running through Innistrad. So he turned to sort of the dark rituals, and he himself, through dark magic, became the first vampire on Innistrad, and also turned some others, which became the progenitors for all of the bloodlines of vampires on Innistrad.
Okay, so Olivia heads up the Valderens, and if she marries Edgar, then she's gonna be the head of 2 major vampire families within the plane. I mean,
Big deal.
that kind of makes her the de facto queen of all of Innistrad. Pretty cool.
Becca, are you trying to say that she has an ulterior motive here? I mean, like, the heart wants what the heart wants.
I would never imply that a vampire's playing politics. No.
But you're absolutely right. It's 100% what she's doing. It's a huge power play. And if she pulls this off, she will be the most powerful vampire on the entire plane.
Wow.
So how she goes about it is that
Let's go, Olivia,
Edgar
girl
has been
boss,
sort of
right?
away in this long, long, long slumber, locked in his coffin. And he's a little bit weak. His powers have sort of waned. So Olivia
Edgar?
walks in, wakes him up, gives him a little blood, and pops the question.
If only it were that easy for all of us, you know? Yeah.
Then she begins preparations for the big day. And since it's her big day,
Whoa!
that would be appropriate if we took a peek at her card next. Olivia Crimson Bride.
Oh my god. Well, she doesn't do anything halfway, does she? Oh my, what is going on with her veil? Are those like...
Yes, those are actual spirits that are clinging to each other and to
Oh
her,
my
forming
God,
the train
look
of her
at the
dress.
hands.
So cool. And absolutely, like you said, she does nothing halfway. So
Super extra.
Right. So this is the opportunity for her to show everyone on the plane that she is now
Kyoji,
the
it just
most
started.
powerful, the most dangerous, and the most beautiful
Oh my
vampire. on
god.
Innistrad.
Dangerous is right. I mean, you keep enough big name vampires around, and anything she pulls out of the graveyard is gonna be sticking around for a while.
Oh my gosh.
So Taylor, you've introduced us to the bride, you've introduced us to the groom. What else can you tell us about the festivities? Like, is there anything about the venue we should know?
Yeah, absolutely. So this big event will be held at the Valderen Estate, which is a massive and opulent mansion up in the deep mountains of Stencia, which, if you've been on Innistrad, is also just impossible to get to. There's winding trails and caverns. You can just fall off just trying to get there. So it was an incredible set piece to work on for this
Oh my
set.
gosh.
So like we've mentioned before in Midnight Hunt, We wanted to bring sort of like a warmer vibe to the festival for humans. In Crimson Vow, for the set piece of the Valderan estate, we wanted a
Yeah, I didn't even
colder
read
sort
what
of
the card does. I was
place
just
for
looking
party
at
for
the art.
monsters. So let's take a look at the card Valderan Estate.
Oh my god, the silhouette is so beautiful. Blood tokens.
Token artifact blood. Pay 1 generic mana, tap, discard a card, and sacrifice this artifact to draw a card.
That seems
Oh.
appropriately on theme. to
Yeah,
me.
nice little hors d'oeuvre, right? I mean, definitely not fit for consumption for humans like us.
So earlier you brought up Soren, Edgar's grandson. So how does he play into all of this?
Soren is sort of the black sheep of the vampires. And
Soren.
he's kind of got them all grumpy because long ago he created Avacyn, who defended the humans against his own kind. And this is sort of Olivia's
Yeah,
another way
madness,
that
that's
Olivia's
right.
kind of just holding and looming that grudge over Soren. So you can even see in her dress when you look at it, she's even walking around with one of his and the Markov's gems built into her dress. So it's almost like she's already walking around with the family heirlooms.
Oh.
So as for how Soren's taking this, I think we could just take a peek at his card for how he's feeling about it. And that is Soren the Merciless.
Yeah, Soren the Mirthless. Yeah, that about answers that. I guess he is not there for a good time.
I mean, at least he's dressed for the occasion, though, because I
Oh
gotta say,
my
I'm a big fan of
God.
how he's rocking this ruffle thing.
Right?
Usually he's dressed a bit more for battle, ready for a fight. And this time he's kind of intentionally dressing down for the occasion a little bit. He's there, but that's about it.
So earlier you mentioned that
Wow.
this is invite only.
He looks
security's
younger.
very
Yeah,
tight.
he had
Is there a
just
reason
eaten
for
right before that
Is
picture was
Olivia
taken.
expecting party crashers?
Wedding
So security is super tight,
security?
so tight in fact that they put up a ward over the entire Valderan estate. So if you don't have an invite and you come in, you might
Die?
But I mean, you don't get to where Olivia is without generating a few enemies along the way. And one of those characters that might be coming to crash the party is Arlen Cord. And so we know she was in
Arlen?
Midnight Hunt as our werewolf planeswalker. And she already called Teferi the Time Mage during Midnight Hunt to Innistrad to help out with the day-night cycle. But now she needs a little bit more help, a little bit more fists on, so she's calling on other planeswalkers like Kaya here.
Kaya!
She's got like that whole Van Helsing thing going on. I love
Yeah,
it.
bringing in the purple to break out this red.
Gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous.
Exactly, and
Geist
she
Hunter.
her specialty is fighting ghosts and undead. So on
Right.
Innistrad, you absolutely want Kaya in your corner.
Wow. So who else is on the team? Who else is Arlen bringing in?
Yeah, so we're also bringing in our favorite pyromancer, Chandra. Gotta have Chandra. So she's gonna look great for the ball. showing a certain address.
I love Chandra.
I'm pretty sure
What else is
Zuby
she bringing to
said
the party besides
Chandra.
these like cool
Oh, wow,
flamers?
that's
I know,
beautiful.
I love
Yeah,
it.
look at that.
Absolutely. So if you know anything about Chandra, she's a lot more sort of speak now rather than forever hold your peace. So I think she'll find herself pretty busy at this event. But there's also too, like,
I'm
even
not
though
sure it makes
sort of
sense
looking
for
away from the
Chandra to
event
be
at the
there.
moment, it does not mean that humanity is not without its defenders. So we've got Thalia to look at. So why don't we take a peek at Thalia's card?
Oh, okay, there's Thalia. She's not the
creepy.
vampire.
So, and just like in Midnight Hunt, this will also come in an Eternal Night frame.
Ooh, yes, the black and
Ooh,
white. The mood is set.
love
This is
it.
a reprint, right?
Yeah, absolutely, but with some new spicy artwork.
I mean, I really love this. I love how you can't actually
that is a
see the
reprint.
zombies,
That's
but they're
the
in
old
the
Thalia
window
card,
behind
but
her
with
or
new
down in the
artwork.
shadows. That's so cool.
So that's a nod back to
so
things didn't go so well for her hometown of Thraben in the last time we were at Innistrad. So we wanted to really show that she's still running through the halls of Thraben, fighting the good fight and cleaning up the streets of all sorts of nasty ghouls and zombies.
Well, Taylor, thank you so much for catching us up. It sounds like even with these surprise guests you mentioned, Olivia's got things pretty under control. This wedding's gonna be all smooth sailing, right?
Absolutely. And I think if you want more, you're gonna have to stay tuned for the Crimson Vow web fiction coming soon.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Taylor. If you don't mind, we're going to go and learn a little bit more about the cards themselves.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Taylor.
Bye. Ha ha ha. Oh my god.
Hi. And here
Look at
we
these
have
cups.
Lauren Bond, one of the creative producers for Crimson Vow. Hi, Lauren. Hi, Deborah. Hi, Becca.
Hi, I'm her human +1. Her +1.
Becca.
Right. So, Lauren, we have learned a lot about the event itself, the venue, the guest list. Is there anything that you can tell us about the cards once we start ripping open those packs? Well, if you've already seen Voldaren Estate, then you've had your first look at blood tokens. But let's look at something else that you can do with blood tokens besides just refreshing your hand with Voldaren Bloodcaster.
Ooh.
Whenever you create a blood token, if you control 5 or more blood tokens, Voldaren Bloodcaster transforms into Bloodbat Summoner.
Ooh.
Okay, so I get it. So on top of using the blood tokens for their own effect, we'll also be seeing cards that use them in other ways too.
Yeah, and even on their own, blood tokens can do double duty because they draw you a card, but they can
Okay.
also put stuff in the graveyard, which in Innistrad is always a good thing, right?
Exactly, like the Disturb mechanic from Midnight
Cool.
Hunt, which I'm happy to say is going to be coming back in Crimson Vow.
Cool.
You can
Oh,
check that out here
Disturb.
on Dorothea, Vengeful Victim.
Dorothea, Vengeful Victim, transforms into Dorothea's Retribution.
Ooh.
Okay, an enchantment with Disturb is a new one to me.
Since Disturb shows up on spirits, we realized there was more ways we could have them show up returning to haunt the battlefield that get a little bit more abstract and out there than just coming back as a creature. So the vampires may be taking center stage in this set, but we wanted to show the other monsters and creatures on Innistrad getting in on the action.
Okay, so we've still got lots of werewolves
Okay,
and zombies.
are her
wreaking havoc.
earrings swords?
We definitely
and
do. I
amazing?
don't have a werewolf to show you today,
What?
but they are coming back for Crimson Vow, and they will be using that same day-bound, night-bound mechanic, just like we saw in Midnight Hunt. So if you're looking to fill out your Werewolf Commander
Oh,
deck,
day-bound,
you're going to be in
night-bound.
good shape.
Okay,
As for
okay,
the zombies, they're coming back with a little bit of an older mechanic called Exploit, which you can see here on
Exploit.
Overcharged Amalgam.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't know this one.
That's a big charge on that boy.
All right.
We
This
first saw
returns
Exploit
battlefield.
back in the set Dragons of Tarkir. It lets you sacrifice a creature when this creature enters the battlefield to gain some additional benefits.
Very cool. Okay, so you've got some creatures sitting around, maybe not pulling their weight. You can
trigger
flash
ability.
this zombie horror in, and then you get the bonus of an additional counter. That's pretty awesome.
Exactly. And talking about cutting dead weight, that brings us to Cleave, which is a new mechanic that we'll be seeing on instants and sorceries in Crimson Vow. Like this one
Zombie
here,
counter
Dig
spells.
Up.
I know, right?
Cleave. You may cast this spell for its cleave cost. If you do, remove the words in square brackets.
Wow, so I'm new.
What?
I haven't actually seen anything like this before. So I think I get this. If I spend the cleave cost, then I read everything except the words in brackets. So that is search your library for a card, any card, and put it in your hand, then shuffle.
That's right.
It's crazy how you can just take out a couple words and
Wow.
completely change the meaning of
Yeah.
the card. That gives it so much versatility. I mean, it's almost like the second card within the card.
Okay, so we've covered
Nice.
monsters. What about the humans? What are they up to in the set?
Well, after how badly things went for them for the Harvesttide Festival, they're kind of looking for some ways to build themselves back up, which you can see in the training mechanic here on Savior of Allenbach.
Training. Whenever this creature attacks with another creature with greater power, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. So when they're in training, they're attacking with a stronger, maybe more experienced
Kind of
creature.
like
And
Mentor?
it looks like they do a little on-the-job learning and sometimes get an extra bonus for that.
Right? So on top of getting that +1/+1 counters from the training, you'll also see some creatures like Savior of Allenbach that have a trigger whenever they train.
And Exile is pretty powerful in this set.
Nice.
Okay, so we've looked at the set's mechanics.
Yeah, like the
what about
opposite
visuals?
of Mentor.
I mean, Olivia
Yeah.
seems like the type who's pretty particular about her wardrobe. So what are we expecting from Crimson Vow's legendary vampires?
We really wanted the vampires to take center stage here, so they're getting our new Showcase Fang treatment. We can see how that looks on Olivia, Crimson Bride.
I mean, she looks fantastic, if I may say. How did that all come together?
This time around, we didn't really aim for like a particular art style, so much as trying to execute on the coolest possible version of vampires, and that led us to a lot of
Oh my
curved
God, look at
and pointed
that
shapes
card.
inspired by fangs, bat wings, gothic architecture.
Okay, I know it's Olivia's big day, but are there any other A-list vampires that got this Fang treatment?
Absolutely. Here, let's take a look at Soren the Mirthless. So one of the amazing things about the showcase treatments is it lets us step a little bit outside of our usual magic style. And on that note, Soren might look a little bit familiar to some video game fans out there. The artist is Ayami Kojima, who is bringing her unique visual style to magic for the first time. That is a huge gift. Like I said, we knew we wanted to do
It
the
does look like
coolest, most
Alucard.
aesthetically pleasing version of vampires.
I don't want to force anyone to tear their eyes away from this breathtaking, aesthetically pleasing vampire art, but Lauren, I understand that maybe you brought some commander previews with you?
Yes, Crimson Vow will have 2 commander decks. One that is going to be focused on vampires, which you probably guessed, and another that's focused on spirits. They are headed up by Streffen, Mar Progenitor, and Millicent, Restless Revenant.
Ooh.
That cost reduction ability on Millicent means that once you've got enough spirits, she's never going to be staying in the command zone for very long.
And it looks like Streffen's got yet another way to use the blood tokens.
Look, you don't have to
my
sell me
God.
on blood. I'm sure it's a very versatile ingredient.
Is there something I...
Nope, it's nothing really. Is there anything
Amazing.
else, Lauren?
Yes, well, you'll be able to find commander-focused cards in the set and collector boosters as well. Like this card, Wedding Ring.
Nah, that seems like a card that's built for multiplayer if ever I saw one. I mean, for richer or for poorer, if you're top decking or you're gaining life. Yeah, it seems like Olivia's got the right idea. I mean,
Nice.
it's gonna make some interesting political plays.
Thank you so much, Lauren. This all looks incredible. So Becca and I need to get inside in time for the big ceremony. Shall we all head back to Taylor so you can see us off?
Of course.
Let's do it.
Wait, don't say it's almost over. Don't say it's almost over. Wait. It's not almost over, right? No.
Well, everyone, it sounds like our preparations for the wedding of the century are almost complete. Are you excited, Becca?
Yeah, how could I not be, Deb? I mean, there's so many fun creative flourishes that really give this that classic horror vibe.
Well, if you're a fan of classic horror, we've got 2 last things to show you that I think you'll be pretty excited about. First off, where would the vampire set be without the progenitor of every pop culture vampire?
Dracula?
Count Dracula himself.
No.
What a unique take. I love it.
Oh
So
my
for these, we
God,
went back
that's
and drew
amazing.
from the literary Dracula, Bram Stoker's Dracula. Even the flavor text is pulled from his original novel.
Thalia
and
is
since we're
Mina?
pulling from the novel, it was a really fun challenge to sort of stay true to those characters written in the descriptions, but bring our own
This
flair,
isn't
sort of
the
bring them to
undead
life
or
or unlife.
Holy
We
shit!
specifically chose artists that we knew had done great work on vampires or kind of similar concepts in the past, and they really all came through for us. Each card is full art and
Oh
borderless,
my
and we don't
God.
just limit ourselves to well-known iconic characters. You'll find lots of classic props and set pieces that the book established as part of the kind of bigger vampire lore. We wanted these to be exciting not just for
Hi,
Magic players, but
Toran.
for fans of the rich history of vampires and the surrounding fiction.
So draft, set, and collector booster boxes all come with a foil Dracula series box topper. And if you buy a box at select local game stores, you'll be able to get Castle Dracula as a buy a box promo.
What a great way to pay homage to one of the stories that inspired Innistrad in the first place, right? And I'm sure you're going to do right by all the horror fans as well.
Do our best.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, you said 2 surprises?
That's right.
Yes, we still need to tell you a little bit about Double Feature.
Ooh, yes. So
Oh
Midnight Hunt
my
and Crimson
God,
Vow
I'm
share
trying
a
not to
special
cry.
relationship. So to commemorate that, we wanted to hit everyone with a double feature,
Cries
which is
and
basically
gore, I
taking
know,
cards from
right?
each Midnight Hunt and Crimson Vow and monster meshing them together into one single unique draftable set.
Oh, that's really cool. So when you
Cool.
draft double feature, you're gonna have a chance to play with those synergies and combos that you wouldn't have with one alone. Like I'm thinking you could use zombies with Decayed to maybe turn on your exploit cards.
The other thing you'll notice pretty quickly is that the cards have been given a special dress treatment. So each card has been individually adjusted to look great in black and white, and our usual rainbow foil has been swapped out for what we call silver screen foils for a more cinematic monochrome effect.
Yeah, I love this. I mean, that black and white, it just pops out of the frames. It's beautiful.
Double Feature is also the only place that you'll find this card treatment. So if you're looking to pick them up, you'll want to keep an eye out for when
Oh
they
my
hit shelves in
God.
January of 2022.
So many
Wow,
different
everyone, it looks like they've
versions.
pulled out all the stops to make this a vampire wedding to remember. So previews for Innistrad Crimson Vow are starting now. Be sure to follow along.
That's right. And you can check out the release on Arena and Magic Online. That's going to be on 11/11. Pre-releases are going to be 11/12 to 11/18. And then you can find your physical release on 11/19. And you might want to keep your eyes peeled for a special Crimson Vow trailer, also dropping on the 11th. That's the same day as the Arena and Magic Online releases.
What?
Well, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye. Hey, wait, what do you want to do tonight? Because I was thinking maybe we could stay up all night and then we could just make sure we're inside when the sun comes up.
Becca, for the last time, I'm not a vampire.
Okay, I'll drop it.
Sorry.
Becca! Becca's a vampire! Wow. Is that it? No! No! Is it over? Why? Why? Don't make it be over. Oh my God. Wait a second. Wait a second. It's coming back. It's coming back, baby. It's the debut after show. It's not over, folks. It is not over, okay? Listen, there's an after show coming up. You know they're going to show more cards during this. You know they're going to show more cards. Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. Okay, first of all, can we all just agree, all of the alternate arts are amazing, and like there's like 50 versions of every card, and oh my God, the product, but I love it. Oh, by the way, I have my mask, but I can't wear it because I have glasses, so it's like awkward. I guess I can just tie it around my head. I should have done this like before the whole thing started, but I didn't. So I'll just do it now. Okay, we're waiting for the weekly MTG video to start. Listen, everybody. Oh, it's starting.
Hello and welcome to Weekly MTG After Show, where we're going to unpack a lot of what you just saw on that very special debut for Innistrad Crimson Vow. I'm your host, Blake Rasmussen, and I'm like the fourth most important person on the show because I have two fantastic people from Wizards R&D here. Mark Rosewater and Adam Prozac, who barely
need to take a breath.
So we're going to introduce them anyway. Mark, Adam, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you did for Crimson Vow? Let's start with you, Mark.
I was the lead vision designer for the set.
Adam?
Cool. Yeah, and I was the lead set designer on the set. So Mark did a lot of the earlier work on the set, and then handed it over to me where I did the latter half of the set.
Yeah, and we're going to spend the next hour picking their brains about Innistrad Crimson Vow. You can see kind of the schedule of events down at the bottom. We're going to start by showing off some of the cards. If you missed the debut, we are going to rehash a little bit of what's in there, but we're going to dive a little bit deeper, especially into some of the mechanics, some of the treatments. We've got the promos to show off, and we do have our own preview cards towards the end of the show that we've seen before.
Okay.
And we're going to dive into some Q&A, so make sure that you share your questions in the chat for Mark and Adam as we go along. Let's start by showing off one of the coolest aspects of this set, in my opinion, which was the basic lands. The Eternal Night basic lands are back with some fantastically spooky art.
Why does the graphic on these look
boosters,
really bad?
Collector, set, and draft boosters with the black and white art. There are two versions of each land. And we're going to go through each of those. So we
love these.
It's a pretty art.
Okay, that looks better.
There's the planes.
Beautiful. That's a graveyard.
I always get excited when I see full art lands just because many years ago, Chris Rush pitched them to me as a cool idea that nobody wanted to do. And now we do them all the time. So it's really cool.
Oh, look at
Rightfully
the
so.
swamp.
This was one of my favorite parts of opening up Midnight Hunt, were these
Oh, yeah.
basic lands.
Oh,
But I'm sure
heck.
it'll be one of your favorite parts of opening up.
Oh, I
It
love the
absolutely
bats.
will.
Super, super striking.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're really pretty.
Gorgeous. Just gorgeous. I love them.
So those are the basic lands, but let's dive into the mechanics. So we introduced a number of new and returning mechanics in the debut video, but Mark and Adam are going to dive a little bit deeper into how the mechanics were created, what they mean for the set as a whole, and all that jazz. So we're going to start with kind of the new marquee mechanic, which is blood tokens.
Blood
These are
tokens.
tokens that allow you to pay 1 mana, tap, discard a card, and sacrifice the artifact to draw a card. Mark, tell us a little bit
Yeah, this
about
totally
blood tokens.
synergizes with Madness.
So one of the big things when
Whoa.
we decided we were going to do Crimson Vow was we wanted to sort of separate the two sets. Like, what was Midnight Hunt going to be? What was Crimson Vow going to be?
Okay.
And Midnight Hunt had really had a strong werewolf theme. So when we started to do Crimson Vow, we said we're going to pick one of the other sort of monsters and focus on them. We considered zombies, but in the end, we went with vampires.
Nice.
And once we knew we were doing vampires, we said, okay, what is the most iconic vampire thing we can do?
Blood.
And we really quickly came across the idea of blood.
Yeah.
The idea of blood tokens. On a previous visit to Innistrad, we had come up with clue tokens.
Ooh, I
Investigate
like
made clue
those.
tokens, and then later we made food tokens and treasure tokens, and we really have had a lot of success with artifact tokens. And so we started with the idea of, okay, let's do blood tokens. We didn't even know what they were going to do. It's just having blood tokens seemed really cool. And then the idea was the vampires would, you could feed the blood to the vampires to make the vampires do things. And that just felt very flavorful.
Mm-hmm.
And so we experimented with a whole bunch of different things. I think one of the early versions, it put +1/+1 counters on things. We tried a version where it scried. But in the end, what we found was sort of rummaging, drawing and discarding. It did a really good job of both being something that sometimes you wanted to use, but you weren't afraid to give up to do cool things with your vampires. And there's a lot of graveyard synergy, so it just worked really well with all the graveyard synergies. And
Why is this guy
I mean, I'm really happy where it ended up. Like I
screaming?
said, we went through a lot of different experiments of trying things, but in the end, it's this really cool resource that your vampires, use to really good effect. And there's a lot of neat sort of
intense.
spells where you do something and then get some blood, and you'll notice the vampire set has a lot of blood in it thematically. So
Yeah, let's put the preview card back up there again while Adam talks through this.
Yeah, so
Okay.
like Mark said, each
At the beginning,
you really
of
wanted
the
a
turn,
mechanic for
it's
the
one
vampire.
target
And this
blood
is the
token
mechanic.
you
Each
control.
each tribe, each of the 5 tribes in the set,
2/2
the same
bat.
5 as every other Innistrad, and including Midnight Hunt.
Yeah, he's like
So,
super intense, and
blood
I can
tokens
say
are
that
really
because
interesting
I'm an
'cause
intense person
one of the things
as
I
well.
worked on is how to get the blood tokens. Sometimes you use them for their own ability, the rummaging ability. So there's various graveyard things, and there's just naturally a good thing. You can give whatever card you don't want.
Yeah.
But also, it's really important to this set to have different cards that use blood in different ways. You can see this Voldaran Bloodcaster. For example, you want to accumulate lots of blood, and then your blood can turn into 2/2 bat creatures.
That's cool.
So that's one way to use blood. There's a myriad of ways in which we can use blood in this set. I'm really excited about it. It's really fun to work on, and I hope you'll enjoy it.
Right. And before we leave this one, we do have the 2 other versions of Voldaran Bloodcaster to show off. So it gets
Oh,
the Fang
look at that
treatment, which
Bloodbat
is the
Summoner.
treatment
That is so
all
cool.
the vampires get in this set in Booster Fun.
All the vampires
And then it
can
also
have the
gets
the
a
special.
Dracula version. Dracula Lord of Dracula Lord of Bats.
shit!
If you didn't catch it in the debut, the Dracula versions are found as box toppers.
Oh my god!
If you buy a set, draft, or collector booster, you'll get one of these. You can also get them in collector boosters.
These
in
Dracula
the
cards are so good!
one other quick thing about blood I should mention is one of the things from a design standpoint we always look for is what we call glue. Like, you want something that sort of makes all the pieces of the set work together. And while blood is super flavorful and feeding to vampires is really cool, it also does a lot of really heavy work of just tying things together. the ability to discard and fill up your graveyard. There's a lot of synergies to see as we go through the set.
Great. Well, let's check out
and
one of the
Innistrad sets are. Yeah, Innistrad sets are very heavily graveyard based, and so blood is one of the myriad of ways. We'll see others to help fill up your graveyard. And I like when you can do that naturally, and instead of having to just like explicitly only mill cards. Blood is a really cool way to do that.
Makes sense. All right, let's talk about another new
love
mechanic,
graveyard stuff.
And we're going to go to Adam for this one. So let's show off Cleave. So again, we saw this one in the debut. But if you check out Cleave, basically, it's an alternate casting cost that says you may cast this spell for its Cleave cost. If you do, remove the words in the square brackets. Adam, tell us a little bit about how Cleave came to be.
Wow.
Yeah, so...
obviously, this card is real good.
Each tribe has its own mechanic based. And once we had those, we wanted we need a little bit extra for instants and sorceries.
What if this was instant?
So I'd like to say I came up with this because this is super cool, but totally didn't. This was from a future set. It didn't quite work out in the set. I needed something exactly like this. There are a lot of cards that we put conditions on. For example, on this card, it's you can search for your for basic land card. But what if you just cleave out the bracketed card, so it says search your library for a card and put it in your hand, so it works like a
it would have been so good at instant.
Diabolic Tutor.
Okay, so cleave is like
everything. So I think
just completely removing really part of what it says. That's why it's called cleave.
Each of them have multiple costs. This one, expands into a second color, for example. I think this mechanic's super cool.
Yeah.
Can I tell you a little bit of the history of where this mechanic came from?
I would like to see more cleave cards, for sure.
We were we were the exploratory design for Streets of New Capenna. And we were looking for just interesting things. I can't get too much into what Streets of New Capenna is.
Oh, no, go ahead, get into it.
The winner of the third Great Designer Search, just had this cool idea of what if you could remove rules text? What if you could, part of, sort of making the spell better was taking away things, taking away actual text. And that just felt really neat and cool. It didn't end up quite working out in Streets of New Capenna, but Mark Gottlieb, who's the vision designer for that set, was also on the set design team for Crimson Vow, and I believe he's the one that suggested it. He couldn't use it, so he offered it up to Adam because they know they were looking for a spell mechanic. He goes, "We have a really cool spell mechanic."
So these are the sloppy leftovers. Wow, thanks.
Yep, very cool. Well, let's move from a spell mechanic to a combat-focused one and talk about training. So training, and we'll show it up here with Savior of Allenbach, is a... We're gonna get it up on the screen. There we go. Whenever this creature attacks with another creature with greater power, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. Mark, tell us a little bit about how training came to be.
So basically, back in Guilds of Ravnica, we made a mechanic called Mentor for the Boros Guild, and it ended up being in the set. But after all was said and done, Eric Lauer said that he always thought it was a little bit backwards. And so we decided to sort of take what he liked. He goes, we could have done it this way. And so when we were making the set for the humans, we wanted the humans to sort of team up together. And so we took sort of the mirrored Mentor, if you will, right? So Mentor, it's the opposite. It's you want to attack a larger creature has the ability and gives it to a smaller creature.
Yeah.
And here, the smaller creature needs the larger creature, but then it makes itself better. And so we thought this played a little bit better because in Mentor, once you had the big creature often would win the game for you. And so here it took the mechanic that we liked, but tweaked it a little bit and made it a little more, just made the gameplay work a little bit better.
Yeah. And Adam, what role does training play?
This exile ability is nice.
So a lot of the strategy, and this is the for the humans, is you'll want to get a singular big creature and lots of creatures with training. Where Mentor's the other way. You wanted one big Mentor and one other creature. This wants lots of creatures with training, and then one other big creature that can train them all. The Savior of Allenbach is really cool. One of the things I like about it is it's very versatile. You can use it to exile your opponent's things, get them out of the way.
Yeah, heck
but you can also exile cards from your graveyard, kind of like a reanimation effect. I think it's super cool.
Oh my god, that's such a good idea.
For the most part, your creatures are just going to get bigger. But the Savior of Allenbach is
if you
special
exile
cool
your
because
own cards,
it both
then
gets
when
bigger
that creature
and
dies,
has
they'll
the
come back to
versatility
your
against the
battlefield.
libraries.
Ooh.
There is a cool training does something cool, by
Hey,
the way,
Mark.
with werewolves. So werewolves obviously are human on one side, and they're smaller, so they get bigger when they're werewolves. So it's kind of fun that you sometimes can train with the human side of the werewolf, and then when the werewolf gets big, you can train with the werewolf. So the fact that it grows bigger, there's a nice synergy with the humans.
Yeah.
Yeah, and one of the things we try and do is pick mechanics that work well with each other. And training is exactly that. Is like, oh, this is really cool when you use like the werewolves, and the werewolves overlap in they're green and red, and humans are white and green. So like you're gonna have a lot of overlap in green here.
All right. And we do have 2 fancy versions of Savior of Allenbach to
show us.
Well.
Oh, okay.
So it has an extended version.
Art.
Again, this you can find in collector boosters. And then it also has a Dracula version. Abraham
Van Helsing!
Same card, fancy name.
Oh my God! Look at that
find that
art!
as a box topper and in collector boosters. All right, let's move on to a returning mechanic from the previous set, but it's got a little bit of a twist this time. Mark, tell us what's going on with Disturb.
I'm okay.
So interestingly, Disturb came about. The mechanic you're seeing in Crimson Vow is actually kind of where we started. One of the things we talked a lot about when we were doing Midnight Hunt,
like Disturb
originally was how to make the what to do with the spirits. And there's a mechanic we did back in Orzhov called Haunt that we really liked the general feel.
Did he just say Orzhov?
So with double-faced technology, we said, okay, well, what if the front side was a spirit and the back side was an aura that represented the influence of the spirit, sort of what Haunting was trying to do.
Oh.
And so the earliest version of this mechanic is just the front side would be a spirit, it would die, and then it would turn into the aura that you would then attach to a creature.
Cool.
We then realized that in order to make it work, we came up with the Disturb mechanic, and then we realized that there were 2 different ways to do Disturb. You could do creature into creature, or creature
Orzhov.
So we pushed off this ability from Midnight Hunt into Crimson Vow. And then, so the cool thing about it is the aura always does what the creature does. So it really captures the flavor that we liked of Haunt of, well, when the spirit dies, it continues to sort of, live on in something else, that it inhabits something else.
Cool.
And so it was sort of neat. Like, we had it Disturb again, but instead of Disturb how you saw it in the last set, there's a new tweak on it. All the Disturb in this set are always Disturb into an aura.
And Adam, tell me a little bit about Dorothea. I'm getting a little bit of Geist of St. Traft vibe here.
Oh God.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that. I think the backside is very similar to a previous
flying for 2.
From our previous visit to Innistrad, Invocation of St. Traft. Just think it was a super cool card. Really like the idea. Like Mark said, Disturb's super cool. One thing I like about it is you get to put the front half of you get to start on the spirit side. So it's going to be a lot more spirit tribal, because it's easier to get your spirits because you don't have to like have your humans die so they come back in spirits like Innistrad, like Midnight Hunt. The other thing that's cool about spirits is like there's a lot of aura and enchantment synergy. So you'll see a lot of cards that have synergize with spirits or enchantments, and I think that's pretty cool. But yeah, Dorothea's really nice. It could be a really nice early blocker, or even like a way to get
missed a lot
damage. But yeah,
but don't you worry. You can catch
really
up.
Powerful side, the thing that's going to be a lot of extra damage is the Disturb thing. You can get it on a creature that can attack multiple times.
Yeah.
Geist of St. Traft is a beloved card, and mostly because it does a lot of damage.
Beloved? Are you kidding me?
And Dorothea has an Eternal Night version
This guy.
as well that we can show off here. There it is. That's spooky.
Wow, that is spooky.
The other one was like gently spooky. This one's a little like nightmare inducing.
This one is heavily spooky. So the biggest thing I missed was that...
All right, let's move on to our next mechanic.
Kind of like the Godzilla cards, they made a bunch of the like big vampires, Soren and Olivia, they gave them Dracula treatments.
Here. So, Felstinger.
Dragons of Tarkir, I think.
Dragons of Tarkir. Thank you. Dragons of Tarkir.
Yeah.
Tarkir. It's in there. Felstinger is a 2 and a black for a creature zombie scorpion.
We haven't seen this one yet.
With death touch and exploit.
Okay.
When Felstinger exploits
I don't like
a creature,
this art.
Target player draws 2 cards and loses 2 life.
This poor
Adam,
horse.
tell us about how exploit ended up in the set.
Exploit.
Yeah, so
Sacrifice a
originally,
creature.
zombies were very heavily graveyard
Oh,
focused,
nice. Okay.
but did not have a mechanic attached to them. Like in our early playtests,
Target player draws 2 cards and
like
loses 2
wow,
life.
what's the best way to enable the zombies? Is to use
Oh,
the
so this
vampire
has been
blood.
released.
It's like
Okay,
no, well,
gotcha.
zombies
I
need
just
something
personally
of
haven't
their
seen
own
it.
to help get you, especially creatures in the.
Okay, exploit seems like it's real good in my jury deck. Let's go.
You get lots of kind of, I call them disposable creatures, but creatures that want to be sacrificed.
Yes.
In like standard, you'll play them with you can play them with some of the decayed zombie tokens. Crimson Vow doesn't have decayed zombie, but it has a lot of stuff in that space that you get to exploit for free. Like this card, I think is super exciting.
Yeah.
Especially when you start pairing it with
Draw 2 cards and
reanimation
lose 2
type stuff
life.
that often shows up
Hello.
in black.
Mm-hmm.
And so that you get to do this multiple times a lot, by exploiting itself.
Love it.
Or sometimes you just want a strong creature. I think this card's super cool and provides a glue for a lot of different strategies.
Well, yes. As chat pointed out, it's basically the Black Muldrifter, so I'm on board.
Ah.
So I just want to real quickly point out
you get to
to
kill
film
your
the story a little bit of what happened.
Whoa.
In Vision Design, we did make a mechanic for the zombies. It was decayed, and then Midnight Hunt said, we really could use that. We're going to take that. So the reason it didn't have a mechanic wasn't that we didn't make one. It was that Midnight Hunt ended up using our zombie mechanic because it really helped what they were doing. And then set design, that happened after we handed off the set. So set design was on the hook then to get a replacement.
Got it.
I don't know what he's talking
All right,
about.
so the last returning mechanic, and we don't have a card for this one.
I'm just waiting to get to these additional previews.
So Adam, Daybound and Nightbound is returning, correct?
Yeah, that's the werewolf mechanic, exact same as Midnight Hunt.
Cool.
We talked a bit about it. It was probably the easiest one for us to settle on. It's just like trying to think of something different, another way for the werewolves to transform. Just doesn't make it play well with your other werewolves from Midnight Hunt. We were just like, yeah, we should definitely keep it the same.
Sure.
Just expect to see more exciting werewolves.
Show us.
The set gets previewed.
More werewolves.
Of previews,
did you hear that?
Move on to the next section. So previews are happening.
Real quick.
Sure, go ahead.
Mark.
It's only on werewolves.
Buddy.
So
Yeah.
Midnight Hunt had Daybound, Nightbound, and other things. It's just the werewolf mechanic in this set. There's no other use of Daybound, Nightbound. Midnight Hunt really did a lot with that. Here, the werewolves still have it, but it's only on the werewolves.
Gotcha. Makes sense.
It's only on the werewolves, and it's only on double face cards.
All right.
So, Midnight Hunt had a number of single face cards that would make the day-night.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
It's only werewolves here, and it's only double face cards.
Okay, thanks,
Gotcha.
guys. Come on, previews, previews.
Well,
let's
move
go.
on and talk about some promos that will be available.
Okay, we're getting there.
Crimson
We're
Vow
getting
season.
there.
So we've got a few promos here.
Yes, I do have a preview card for Crimson Vow. It will be released on Halloween, the 31st, Sunday. Stay tuned.
In a blue that costs 1 less to cast if you control a spirit, and also costs 1 less to cast if you control an enchantment.
Counter
this is one of
target
those
spell?
cards that Adam was talking about earlier that cared about both spirits and enchantments. And then once you do that, you get a little mana leak.
Go away.
Counter target spell unless it's controlled.
Geistlight Snare, goodbye.
So it could be a 1 blue mana leak. Then, of course, Felstinger, we just saw.
Felstinger,
and then
cool.
Dominating Vampire is a 3/3 vampire for 1 and 2 red mana. When Dominating Vampire enters the battlefield,
Vampires
gain
you control
target
until the turn.
creature with mana value
I
less
love
than
it.
or equal to the number of vampires you control until end of turn. Untap that creature. It gains haste until end of turn. Adam, why did we decide to highlight these as some of our play promos?
Yeah, I think they just show off one. They're all super cool cards.
Yeah.
And
Blue.
other thing is
No,
they kind of show off like
thanks.
what the set is doing. You know, like I alluded to, the spirits and Disturbed
Dominating
Auras,
Vampire.
really help
I
this
love that one.
Geistlight Snare.
The problem is
bottom
my
out at even one
Alenda
mana
Vampire
a lot of
deck
some of the
is
Fellsinger is a really
black and
nice
white,
piece for
not red.
various exploit or sacrifice decks. And
The
Dominating
flavor text
Vampire I
on the
think is cool
vampire.
because like every once in a while it just targets
love it.
itself and has haste. So that's another cool thing you can do with it. In addition to stealing your opponent's creatures temporarily.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes if they don't have any creatures, you just give this haste, essentially.
Just give it haste and get in there.
Oh, yeah, okay,
All right,
totally.
next up, let's look at the bundle promo.
Ooh.
So we saw the main set version of this card.
Sigarda's Summons.
Sigarda's Summons is a 6-mana, 4 and 2 white enchantment. Creatures you control with +1/+1 counters on them have base power and toughness 4/4, have flying, and are angels in addition to their other types. Adam, tell us what's cool about this card.
Yeah, so I mean, if you have +1/+1 counter synergies like trading.
Yo, they did not show us the returning character who is now a vampire. They have not shown us that yet.
They're base 4/4, and they're gonna have at least one +1/+1.
This card's
counter,
good.
so they're likely to be 5/5.
Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
4/4 flying and our angels.
Really gets a huge flying army quickly. Can end the game on the spot sometimes.
Very cool.
Really
and finally,
good.
we have the Buy a Box promo. So of note, this is at your local WPN stores while supplies last, but this is in addition to the box toppers. So there are the Dracula box toppers,
okay.
which come inside every set, draft, or collector booster box you get. But then if you buy one of those boxes and your local
I still
WPN
think it's going to be
store
Avacyn.
has these still in stock, you will get a Castle Dracula version of Voldaren Estate.
I love it.
And if you want to check out all of these promos, you can head to dailymtg.com, I believe right now. And
I
check
have to
out,
get all of
the
these
collector's
products,
article that shows
obviously.
where you can get each of these promos.
I'm one of those people for this set.
Yeah, I think this card's super.
For
super
Fragan,
cool.
sure.
Obviously, there's a bunch of vampires in Midnight Hunt. We're gonna add a bunch of vampires in.
Look at those bats.
Crimson Vow.
Look at this castle.
And then there's one of the problems with 2-color aggressive decks is that you often need an extra dual land.
Mm-hmm.
The blood tokens?
And I think the
what the hell? That was a gelatinous cube. The blood
does
tokens,
a really good job at
pay
helping
one,
with that while giving you
tap it, sasacrifice
Vampires are
it,
gonna
draw a card, and
use
discard a
blood
card?
lot.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what the blood
So
tokens
this is
do.
a really
be
great
blood.
tool for those decks.
Ha! Good one, Mark. There will be blood.
All right, let's move on to the meat of this show. And actually, preview some new cards. We showed off Fellstinger earlier.
Yes!
We've got some 3
Let's go.
exciting cards to show off and talk about. And then after that, reminder chat, we're going to take your questions straight from chat. So feel
Don't
free
take questions
as
from
we
chat.
get towards the end of these
Please
3
don't
cards
do
to start
that.
putting your questions for Mark or Adam in chat. And we'll get to as many as we can in the time that we have. So let's start with the first preview card appropriate for this set and the wedding.
Prepare.
Taking place. It's a wedding announcement.
Okay,
followed by
okay.
Wedding
We
festivity.
saw this art.
Wedding announcement is a 3-mana, 2 and a white enchantment. At the beginning of your end step, put an invitation counter on Wedding Announcement. If you attacked with 2 or more creatures this turn, draw a card. Otherwise, create a 1/1 white human creature token. Then, if Wedding Announcement has 3 or more invitation counters on it, transform it. And it transforms into Wedding Festivity, which is also an enchantment that says creatures you control get +1/+1.
Pretty
Mark,
good.
why don't you tell us about this card, especially since it's a white card that
I
says
love this
draw.
art.
So there's a couple things. First off, we did a lot of vampire top-down, so there was a lot of sort of coming up with cool vampire things. But another part of the set was there was a wedding. And so there's a lot of tropes for weddings. So we also wanted to do a lot of cool top-down wedding themes. Like the video, for example, showed off wedding ring. There's lots of cool things we're doing.
Yeah, okay.
So the wedding announcement was sort of us both trying to combine a top-down, wedding theme, and we are trying to expand white a little bit. One of the challenges of white in Commander is that Commander pushes on certain things that play into some of the weaknesses of white, and some of white's strengths just don't work in Commander. We need X aren't really strong in a multiplayer 40 life format.
Right.
And so we've been really working with white on the Council of Colors to try to figure out how to give it some tools. One of those tools is card drawing. And so white used to not draw cards at all, or very, very little draw cards.
This is a card for Commander?
We've revamped white.
Is that what you're saying,
White has
Mark?
a new rule. It can draw cards, but usually only once per turn. And you have to be doing something that's very white in nature. Attacking with creatures is a very white thing. So this card says, okay, we can give you a reward, and the reward can either be drawing a card or getting creatures, depending on what you need. And then at some point, it turns into wedding festivities and then just pumps up your army. So I really like how this came. It does a great job of both being flavorfully a wedding announcement and wedding festivities, but also sort of showing off some new stuff that we're doing in white.
Cool.
Very cool. And this one does have an extended art version as well, available in collector boosters. Adam, anything to add on this card?
Pretty.
Yeah, I mean, to what Mark said, this is certainly not the only white card in the set that draws cards. Yeah, this was the kind of, in my mind, kind of our first set that can reap the benefits of our discussions on how to improve white as a multiplayer color. There's lots of cards that help white play a longer game, with lots of opponents. And hopefully,
so this is straight up for
you'll
Commander.
Enjoy these cards.
That's what they're saying.
I think this card's super cool. There's top-down weddings tropes all over the set.
Well, it freaking looks cool.
Really
That's for sure.
Yeah. Speaking of top-down wedding tropes, let's show off one of the cards too that was in the debut video. So we've got Wedding Ring. To expand on the wedding tropes. It's not often we have a set where we get to do a bunch of wedding tropes. Wedding Ring is an artifact that costs 2 and 2 white. When Wedding Ring enters the battlefield, if it was cast, target opponent creates a token that's a copy of it. Oh, they get a Wedding Ring too.
Okay.
Whenever an opponent who controls an artifact named Wedding Ring draws a card during their turn, you draw a card. What's yours is mine. Whenever an opponent who controls an artifact named Wedding Ring gains life during their turn, you gain that much life. So this is one of the Commander cards that's found in set boosters. You can also...
see the emblem? It's different.
Boosters. So, Adam, I'm not sure. Were you involved in the Commander cards at all?
Nope. So my purview is mostly the main set. So I believe Corey Bowen did both these.
It's a reprint. Thalia is a reprint.
And the Commander decks did an awesome job.
Yep.
Even if he stole a couple designs.
You're proposing. Yeah, it's like you're proposing, and then you're bound together.
We talked about this card in the Council of Colors because we've really been sort of trying to figure out what's okay for white and what can't white do, and this came before us. And the thing I love about this design is that it both really represents wedding rings, right? You are connecting yourself to somebody else.
Right.
And there's a relationship between you now and this other player. And it really does this very neat multiplayer thing where you're sort of making an alliance with somebody and you have sort of mutual benefits as long as you have this alliance. And so I really, really love this design.
I like it too.
And it shows how when we designed specifically for a format, we can sort of play into strengths of that format.
Yeah, totally agree. I think this card's super cool and a great fit for Commander.
Well, we already learned that
we'll
Olivia has ulterior
and
motives for getting married.
So be sure to turn in for that. Awesome. But in the meantime, we've got
two
more preview cards.
Two more!
Our next preview card is called Demonic Bargain. It is a sorcery for 2 and a black that says exile the top 13 cards of your library, then search your library for a card, put that card into your hand, and then shuffle. So this is a tutor with a little bit of a downside. Adam, tell us me about this.
A little bit?
Yeah. So one of my favorite things to do when designing this set was
Ooh, I
find
don't like this.
odd places to put the number 13.
Am I
13
wrong?
is a very,
The art
Innistrad
looks
number.
amazing. I agree with that.
And I thought this was a really cool way to do it. It's not just like deal 13.
What if you
damage.
exile the card you're looking for?
Like, well, exile 13 cards. And one of the things I like
They're
about
exiled. They're gone.
like tutors or search spells like this is that you can't just get the same card every time. And I think this is a really cool way to do this. So when this design was pitching me, I'm like, oh, this is amazing. I definitely need to get it. It's super fun. You do like you get something good, but not maybe the same thing every time. Or so I think it plays out a little bit differently from the game.
That's interesting. I don't love it, but
tutors.
I also don't really know much. So
the thing I enjoy about this card is, I mean, one of the great things about Magic is Magic's been around for a long time. And there's a lot of stuff we've done in the past that it's fun to sort of revisit old cards of the past. And so Demonic Consultation was in Ice Age, I think.
Yep.
And so this is kind of like like for those, that's a long, long time ago, right? That was, many, many years ago. This is sort of rediscovering that sort of card, and sort of it's fun to bring back old cards, and that the people who played Magic for a long time might recognize this sort of illusion, and those that don't, it's just a cool card unto itself. But that's the thing I sort of love about this card. It has some nostalgia sort of secretly.
Yeah, I think like maybe it should have been either an instant or cost
one
less
more card to
be
show
decent.
off, and then we're gonna hit the
To be
Q&A
more
section
decent?
of the show. I've got a few questions from chat so far written down, but definitely please put your questions for Mark and Adam in the chat, and we'll get to as many as we can.
One more.
But
Come on.
before then, let's show off our last card, Grolnok the Omnivore.
What?
It is a 3/3 legendary creature frog for 2, a green, and a blue. And whenever a
Oh my
frog
God.
you control attacks, mill 3 cards for those frog tribal decks. And whenever a permanent card is put into your graveyard from your library, exile it with a croak counter on it. You may play lands and cast spells from among cards you own in exile with croak counters on them. I have one word for you two. What?
What? Right?
One of the fun things I think about doing Innistrad sets is...
Look at that creepy black and white art.
We do a lot of the normal things, right? We get to do vampires and werewolves and stuff, but it's also fun to kind of make our own sort of horror stuff.
Yeah.
And so I think this was just us having fun of like, what kind of monsters can we make? How about a giant frog? And so this card... I don't know whether the mechanics for this card came first or the creative. Do you have any idea, Adam, which came first?
A little bit of both. So this was designed both as like, oh, this is a kind of a mill commander, so you might want to mill yourself with a bunch of other cards, not necessarily frog tribal.
Right? Frog tribal. Frog tribal.
More this is like, oh, this is good with a lot of self-mill cards like, Mulch.
Get Rog Monster's little sibling. Aww.
But then this mechanic is definitely decided to be your commander. Like the croak counters work when you recast.
Look at its evil eyes.
Grolnok.
It's like.
So yeah, and then Frog was like, oh, this should be some cool, different weirdo monster.
Weirdo Grolnok.
We decided on Frog.
The Omnivore.
Good choice.
There we go.
Good choice. Yeah, chat seems to enjoy that it's Frog. And you know what, Adam, you can't tell them what to do. They're going to do Frog Travel. It's going to happen.
Yeah, you do whatever you want. I'm not telling you.
Hop to it.
For sure.
Oh yeah,
All
Olivia's
right,
marrying
let's
Edgar.
Talk through some
She's trying
of
to
the
gain
questions we
power.
have. So I've got a few written down again, chat. Feel free to keep putting them in chat, and I will get as many as I can. I'm writing them down. But let's start here, and I'm going to actually combine
what is chat
two
gonna say
people's
here?
questions.
Oh,
Because they
boy.
both asked if certain mechanics were ever considered for this set. So they were wondering if Madness or Spectacle were ever considered for
Oh,
this set.
Spectacle. That was a Rakdos one.
Neither were considered in Vision Design. I know Madness was a mechanic for vampires in Shadows over Innistrad block.
Yes.
Because we were doing blood, I know there's some idea of, Madness goes well with blood, but we really did one mechanic per monsters, and so vampires were blood, but vampires were associated with Madness, so we did We didn't want to do 2 mechanics for the vampires, so madness wasn't really considered because we were considering blood.
All right.
Yeah, there's actually so there's a little
What was
bit,
the other one?
not
Spectacle?
very much, but there's a little bit of cards that have an effect when you discard them to synergize with the blood. They don't explicitly have madness. They don't work like madness, but there is some stuff that explicitly synergizes with blood in the set.
Mm-hmm.
And as for spectacle, that's pretty close to the vampire mechanic in Midnight Hunt. So I thought having spectacle on top of that would be a little bit too much of the same.
Okay. So the answer is
Yeah,
no,
madness
folks.
was absolutely considered. We did talk about madness.
Oh, okay. The answer is madness
But
was
like Mark said,
considered
we don't want 2 mechanics
for vampires.
tried.
But why though? Like that would have
All
been
right,
cool.
we've got
Who cares
a
about
couple
the other
questions.
ones?
Again, I'll smash them all together. Talk a little bit about, and I'm guessing this one's for you, Adam, Thalia's Return. That's a pretty powerful
Ooh.
classic card. Why did you choose to return Thalia, and why this version?
Yeah.
So Thalia, like at the beginning, around the time set design takes over from Vision Design, one of the first things I would ask for was like, oh, what characters do we absolutely have to have in the set? And then I figure out what kind of designs. And Thalia was a slam dunk. It's like, we definitely want a Thalia.
Why is Mark
As for
smiling
the-
like that?
As for the reprint,
Is it kind of creepy?
I think it does a lot of healthy things.
What is he
for
doing?
Standard environment. I think it's a fun card to be kind of epitomizes what
he
like how the humans
won't stop.
can
Okay, it's fine.
be slightly disruptive as well. They're not just all
Mm-hmm.
attacking creatures with +1/+1 counters and whatnot. But yeah, we did consider a lot of other,
He is. He's so
features in
happy
space,
about the
but
set.
it felt right for Thalia to do a reprint instead of a new design.
Okay, but I really wanted to
I
see
do want to
One of my
point out
favorites.
that
who was the vampire
because we did
creature.
2 Innistrad sets, I know we worked with the creative team to sort of divvy up where the different characters went. And obviously, certain ones were part of the story, and other parts were, it just made more sense in this set than that set. But one of the big questions I got in Midnight Hunt was, where's Thalia? Where's Odric? Where's Geralf? And like, here, they're in this set. We had to save them for the second set.
Right. And for the
I could never pick a favorite art for the new Sorin. I couldn't pick one. I could not choose one. They're all so good. The black and white ones, the Count Dracula ones. I can't pick. I can't choose. I can't. Sorry.
The next question's a question for me. When will Commander deck lists be
They're all
released?
beautiful.
November 8th. So the way preview season's working starts today. The full set, the full main set, will be revealed by November 5th. And then we'll have the weekend to digest. And then on November 8th, both of the full Commander decks will be revealed.
So exciting.
Next up, let's do... you can answer this with a yes or a no, Mark. Is Edgar in this set?
Yes.
We'll stick with the is it in this set. Again, you can answer yes or no. I figure we might as well just get this out of the way. Chat's asking for it. Mark, is Snapcaster Mage in this set?
No.
Oh, burn.
Moving on from those. Let's see.
Edgar.
Adam, how about this? Is there any skeleton tribal support in this set? There was a little bit in some previous sets. Is there any skeleton tribal support?
Skeleton tribal.
I don't believe so. So most of the tribal support is for one of the main 5 humans, whether it's werewolves, zombies.
There is one
Vampires.
skeleton in the set.
Okay.
Okay, there is a skeleton. I don't think it has explicitly
It doesn't have any
references other
tribal. It
skeletons.
doesn't have any tribal, but there is a skeleton.
Right,
It's a common skeleton. There's a common card that's a skeleton.
Oh, dang.
Okay, and there's a you saw the frog tribal card, so to speak. There's a couple of ways where it's the best execution of card is to allow it to work with other cards of the same type. I could think of at least one that's really cool.
What is
that
it?
does that? But
What is
there's
it?
a little bit else, but
Tell
no
us.
skeletons.
Tell us.
All right.
Come on.
You guys may or may not know the answer to this question, but we'll start with you, Mark. Why are the Dracula cards non-legendary?
Oh, so mostly what we were trying to do is when we do sort of the overlay, like we did with Godzilla, we're not making new cards. We're just doing existing cards. And so we go and find from the cards in the set, what is the best card we can do that sort of captures that. But all the characters are, from a standpoint of the story, they're all legendary. But if we only limited ourselves to legendary creatures, it would be a lot harder for us to do this. So we allow ourselves to sort of fit with whatever makes sense for the set. And that's why they're not all legendary.
Okay.
Right.
I love it.
There's a mix of stuff we do there. Sometimes we make new legendary characters to fit a legendary character. We did that a couple times here. Other times it's like, my favorite Dracula card is the one we previewed, is Valdarin Estate or Castle Dracula. Like those both work really well as both, and sometimes so we don't have to do it.
Right.
Yeah, makes sense. Are there any non-black or red vampires?
Are there any white vampires?
Yeah.
Yes, there are.
What?
Just like werewolves in Midnight Hunt, where we said, you know what? Normally, werewolves had always been in red and green in Innistrad sets, but we went to a third color. There were black werewolves in Midnight Hunt.
We did
the exact same thing. With Envision Design, like, okay, we need a third color.
It'll be white.
It's pretty clear where the third color wants to be for vampires.
It's white. It's white.
Both historically where vampires have been and
white.
Because Edgar's in the set,
white.
The third color was not a big shock of where we needed to go.
White.
Yeah, so it works a little differently than so Midnight Hunt had one werewolf in each of the non-red and green colors, or at least one werewolf.
It had 3 in black, 1 in white, 1 in blue.
Yeah. Right. And then in Crimson Vow, it's just white. So red, black, and a little bit.
Why? Why would there be a blue
But the one thing that we do in Crimson Vow that we didn't really do in Midnight Hunt is
it would have to be like
there's
blue,
a lot
black.
of exploration of 2-color legendary creatures between those 3 colors. So if you want a red-white legendary vampire, you will see that. If you want to, we are playing around with all 3 colors from a commander standpoint because unlike werewolves, vampires have a wealth of history for commander. So we wanted to give you some options of what you could do with your werewolf.
Red-white legendary vampire?
Yeah, I think there's a red-white, a red-black, and a black-white legendary creature vampire.
This isn't about necessarily this set, but it's about vampires. It's just topical. You can answer yes or no. Will we ever see Baron Sengir again?
I don't know the answer to that. I mean, we did see him in Commander Legends, right? That showed up again?
Yeah.
So I don't know whether he's, alive. I don't know if it's the right word, but yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. Obviously, we do stuff.
He's a vampire. He's not alive.
So I don't know if he's still around or not. I honestly don't know.
All right.
Yeah, I suspect magic will be around long enough for us to see him again.
Yeah.
That's
we talked about this earlier, but the question was in chat, and I want to make sure to get to all the good questions. So, Adam, is Daybound, Nightbound still in Crimson Vow?
Yes.
Absolutely, yeah. We went over that. It's the werewolf mechanic. It works exactly the same.
Listen, people.
But as we said earlier, it's only on double-faced werewolves in this set. There are no single-faced cards or no non-werewolves with Daybound, Nightbound.
Gotcha.
Edgar will be the in-universe reprint for Negan.
So the question was the tutor ever tested at 2 mana? So that's Demonic Bargain. Adam, was it ever tested at 2 mana?
I said this.
Oh, not really. We liked it at 3 mana.
Y'all don't know.
It is pretty reliable. It's not 100% reliable, but
no, it should have been 2. I think it should have been 2.
And thought 3 mana was the right.
I think it should have been either an instant or 2.
Mark.
That's my opinion.
I think you've talked about this elsewhere, but who are the 3 planeswalkers that are featured in this set?
Okay, well, we saw Soren in the preview video. The other 2 are Kaya and Chandra.
Yeah.
Who are both dressed for a wedding. So there's some cool outfits. For those who like to see our planeswalkers dressed up in cool outfits.
Yeah, they did look cool. They did look cool.
Next up,
I think Chandra feels a bit out of place, but
if for you two, I'm prefacing this one. You can answer the question if the card has already been shown. You can just name it. If it's a card that hasn't been shown, then you can give a generic characteristic for it. What is the card in this set you are most excited for?
Somebody say
So I was about to say
my
I am
preview card.
super excited for the new Kaya. We don't have, it's not time to preview it yet, but
Not yet.
I'm really excited about that.
Mm-hmm.
The other card, I think consensus favorite card among a lot of the people that worked on the team is a white card that is a mass creature destruction. I think it's really cool.
mass creature destruction.
All right.
I'm looking at the set right here to try to remember what my favorite card in the set is.
You don't know, Mark?
The one thing for the audience is, like, I worked on this 2 years ago, so, like, it's...
I worked on it. I worked on it about a year ago, so...
I just don't want to name a card and go, that's not from this set, that's from a set you guys haven't seen yet. So.
Do it! Do it, Mark!
I know there's a legendary slug that I really like. And I'm a big fan of goofy creature types, and so the slug is a lot of fun.
Mark, that's because you're a goofy creature type.
Powerful. It's a lot of fun. I'm not saying that's very powerful.
Yeah.
Yep. And Adam Chat wanted to point out, if the White Wrath you're talking about is by invitation only, that was actually spoiled already.
Oh, there it is.
There you go. Yeah, that's the one. Next question. Are there any scarecrows in this set?
Scarecrows?
Give me a second.
I'm guessing no.
Yeah.
I do not see any scarecrows in it.
One thing that's interesting is sometimes, like, if they're like, is there this creature type? I don't always know the answer. Because, like, a lot of times, creature types will, and, different art will get added after I do a lot of, a lot of the work. But, like, sometimes the design is, it has to be this creature type. So I know, like, I know about the main creature types.
There's some constructs, but I do not see, a scarecrow.
I don't remember a scarecrow.
There was a scarecrow in Midnight Hunt, but
yeah.
There you go.
All right. I'll take the next question. The question is, are the Dracula box toppers in foil? Yes, they are traditional foil in the box topper. All the Dracula ones in the box toppers are traditional.
I have to have those.
Let's try. Mark, I think this is probably a question for you.
What's up?
Would they be, or are they going to be, are blood tokens evergreen?
Evergreen?
Are they evergreen?
What is that? I
think if you look at the other artifact counters, like clues, like treasure, like food, it's something that we're willing to use. Like, they're very useful tools, and so I have trouble believing that we won't find another place to use them. But it's just a matter of, is there a set where it makes sense? I mean, blood is flavorful in the right place; it can make sense. But it's a tool in our toolbox, and we're not afraid to use tools, as this set clearly shows. If we have old mechanics that make sense and really work for now, we'll bring them back. So it is definitely in our toolbox of artifact tokens that we can use.
That was a dumb question.
Yeah, and
whoever
I'll add
asked
to that,
I don't like it.
I think one of the things that makes blood really cool in this set is we have a lot of infrastructure around it. We have a lot of cards that make you want to use your blood in different ways, and not just
use your blood.
Not just to discard then draw. I could totally see doing it again, but I think that similar infrastructure would need to be there. But I'm really excited about it. It's
so another vampire set.
Oh, we're never doing.
Let's go.
The cool thing from a mechanical standpoint is rummaging is a general useful ability that can synergistically work with sets. So
why do they
Adam's
keep
correct.
saying
you want
rummaging?
a set that makes use of it, but that's not a super high ask to have a set make use.
Right.
All right. Next up, again, you can answer yes or no to this question.
I don't know why.
Does Runo Stromkirk finally get a card in this set?
Who?
Yes.
Okay, who's that?
Yep.
Mark's like, I gotta look.
All right, next up, we're getting a couple questions about by invitation since we've brought it up. Producer Sean, I don't know if you have that card available, but if you do, if we can put it up on screen, that'd be great. If not, we'll just talk about it. Adam, one of the questions was, why does by invitation use sacrifice? That's not a normal ability for white.
Oh, I don't think I saw this card.
It's mostly the
sacrifice. That is not normal for white.
You can't really say each player
ooze.
destroys that many creatures. They control, because that's what sacrifice is.
Yeah.
And we didn't feel like exile was appropriate for this card. It was just more fun if you could, get your own death triggers and whatnot. And it's one way, one of the very few ways white has to fill its graveyard with creatures.
They don't have the card, clearly.
You didn't want to disrupt your own. Go ahead, Mark.
Another thing is templates matter a lot to us. Like, we want to write the cards in the cleanest, simplest, easiest way to understand. And
really,
like, the template that uses sacrifice is so much cleaner than the templates that don't. And so, yeah, white does not sacrifice a lot, but like where we make a much cleaner template, it is something white can do. It's not, it's not the default what we do with white, but we really do want cards to read cleanly and easily. And I think that's a big reason why this card sacrifices.
Oh, okay. So you just took the easy route.
Yeah.
I see what it. I see what's up. It's fine.
Cool.
Whatever.
We did have a question of if this set has new dual lands. They were shown off in the debut, but let's put them up on screen here.
Yeah, we saw them.
Yeah, they're super fun lands.
There they are.
Completion of the cycle from Midnight Hunt. So the enemy colors.
Ooh, foo, 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 foo.
I always like it when standard
those are beautiful.
One standard gets all of its dual lands. So like previously, there's not less of an incentive to play a blue-green deck. So now
I like the storm-carved coast. I mean, that looks so friggin' cool with the lightning.
Next up, let's go with... we've had some questions about double feature. So were either of you involved in creating that set?
Nope.
A little bit.
Okay. One of the questions we got was, basically how was that set put together? How was it decided? Like, were the sets designed initially to be drafted together, or did someone go back and put them together? How did that work?
Yeah, I can answer that. So the sets, absent of double feature, even, were designed to play well with each other. That's why both sets have the same day-bound, night-bound thing.
Right, right.
That's why Exploit works well with the Decayed Zombie, because people do play these cards together, absent of any limited environment. But then double feature was made to take advantage of that. What if there was a limited environment where all these different cards?
I like double feature.
I
think it's a cool idea.
What if they actually did work really well together?
I don't know if I'll get any, but...
And so cards were picked.
But it has the vampires in it, so yeah, I will.
For that,
for
the double feature to work well with the two sets together.
Let me just add something to that.
Okay.
When we go back to a world, one of the things we're always conscious of is what were the decks people built previously. So, we brought up Madness before. We understood that Blood and Madness would play well together, but we also knew that, hey, if you have a vampire, a black-red vampire deck, odds are there's some Madness cards in your deck. So, when we build things in-world, we do think of where they were before, because we want them to play well together. Like, if you have a zombie deck from previous Innistrad, we want to play well with this zombie, zombies from this set. So, we are always thinking about trying to make them connect. And so obviously the Midnight Hunt ones and the Crimson Vow ones connected, but they also connect to all the old ones as well. We definitely want to think about, hey, somebody playing a vampire deck, if you brought the old vampires from Innistrad, hey, there's synergies with the new vampires. We understand that people take the new cards and add them to their old cards. So we're always thinking about what are the themes that people like about this. So when we make vampires, we're very conscious of what are the previous vampire themes we've done.
Love it.
I'm going to answer a swath of questions we've been getting that are all kind of on the same topic, asking how many zombies are in the set, how many werewolves are in the set. Stay tuned. You'll see. Some number.
Blake,
A lot.
Yeah, go ahead.
Much like Midnight Hunt was an Innistrad set with a werewolf theme to it, this is an Innistrad set with a vampire theme to it. Like, if you look at Midnight Hunt, that is the template. Like, what were the things that weren't werewolves in Midnight Hunt? It's very kind of similar to what's going on here. It's an Innistrad set. If you love
so it'll have everything.
Spirits or zombies or humans or werewolves,
Frogs.
or vampires, look, it's all here.
Frogs.
That's what Innistrad sets do.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Cool.
People asking about notable reprints. Stay tuned. There are definitely reprints. Notable is kind of up to how you think of notable.
We saw Thalia.
We said Thalia. That's a big
Yes,
one,
we've seen Thalia. They were asking besides Thalia.
Oh, and Slug,
Another big question we're getting is about the Eldrazi. So Emrakul is trapped on the moon. So Mark, when you were going through vision design for these sets, where was your head on how the set would or would not address the Emrakul and the moon?
Well, if you've been following the story, the whole Midnight Hunt story was predicated on weird things happening because Emrakul's in the moon. So this story is an offshoot of what happened previously on Innistrad. Mechanically, look, Eldrazi sent us in a different direction mechanically. That's not what we wanted to do here. We really wanted to kind of more revisit classic Innistrad. So the fact that they were here before, the last trip to Innistrad, that affects the story, but mechanically we really didn't want to go down that path. So it has a huge influence on the world, but it doesn't have a big influence on the set.
Okay.
Yeah, for example, one thing we specifically tried to avoid was explicit references to Eldrazi. There's no colorless matters cards or anything like that. We wanted this to be Innistrad, not Innistrad plus Eldrazi.
Oh, okay. I like it.
Let's see. We are just about out of time. I want to make sure we get to a couple last questions. Adam, is exploit only in black and blue?
Yeah. All of the
I know, right?
mechanics
The moon's gonna have to go at some point.
So
it can't be night all the time.
Zombie mechanic, it is on. I think it's exclusively on zombies.
I still think Addison's coming back as a vampire.
All right, good to know. Also, for people who are still putting questions in chat, first of all, thank you. We are just about out of time. I want to encourage you to head to dailyntg.com today. There is a ton of information on there that will answer a bunch of your questions. There's a mechanics article that goes through all of the mechanics, new and old. There are collecting articles that talk about where the different treatments are found and how common they are, that sort of thing. So there's a lot of information there. Definitely head there to check things out. Most everything should be up by this point.
That moon too?
Before we go, let's show our 3 preview cards from this show one more time. So we're going to start with Wedding Announcement and Wedding Festivity.
Okay, Wedding Announcement and Wedding Festivity. I love these arts.
Make all your creatures
it's very cool.
Bigger. And then
look at this
next
happy
up,
vampire
Demonic
couple.
Bargain.
Demonic Bargain, this art, amazing.
Tutors that has a drawback.
Yeah, a big drawback. I don't love this. Sorry, but I love the art.
The Omnivore.
Grolnock. Okay,
tribal,
this is creepy
no
AF.
Says, but it also does
But I think it's
build
cool.
frog decks?
Do it.
I'm very happy.
Build your frog decks. Build them.
I said that, Blake.
That is all the time we have. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Thank you, Mark and Adam, for answering all of the questions and sharing some more insights about Innistrad Crimson Vow.
Wow.
Previews are going on now through November 5th.
Now.
And then the set hits MTG Arena and Magic the Gathering Online on November 11th, followed by pre-release, followed by the global release the week after that. So thank you, everyone. We'll be back next week to talk more Innistrad Crimson Vow. Have a good week.
Okay. That was super freaking exciting. If I can just go ahead and say that. Yeah, so the Dracula cards. Whew, Are we freaking excited about those or what? I think the answer is yes, we are. I'm excited about all of them. So yeah, I do have a preview card coming out. It is coming out on the day of Halloween, the spookiest day that there is. That's Sunday, right? Like, let me just double check. I make sure I release it on the correct day. Yeah, Sunday. So yeah, I made a little preview video, so that'll be coming out Sunday. So get excited for that. Get pumped. Yeah, and I'm just gonna go ahead and hop off for now. I'm glad they did that after show and showed us a lot of they showed us extra cards because they didn't do that. They didn't do the after show like this for Midnight Hunt, and I'm glad they did it. So they showed us some extra stuff. I thought the spookiest day of the year is when the in-laws visit. That is a good point. That is super accurate. It sure is. Sanctuary Cat reprint preview. My preview card is not a reprint. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but I just did, so. Boom, baby. Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and hop off. Thank you all for watching this with me. This has been super friggin' fun. I am so excited for this, and I just think it's awesome. Go check out Talia Vess's costume. Okay, you know what? We're gonna send her a raid. We will start her. Oh my God, she looks amazing. She looks amazing. Look at her vampire costume. I tried, okay? I tried. Give me some credit here. I tried. Okay. Y'all, thank you so much for hanging out with me. Go tell Talia Vess I think her costume is amazing and beautiful. And have a great rest of your day. Bye, friends. Bye.